every time I get the opportunity to speak in front of people. Because it might be the last thing I say, or you never know. And today, before I get into my talk, when I came into the building, my voice was gone. And I said, okay, Spirit, everything is forwarding the message. And inside of my voice being gone, I sat with Michael. He shared his silent day with me, and particularly something I'm going to add to my sermon. And then I saw Deletta, who's the maestro, and told me of a thing called a singer's first aid kit, which I'm going to give a speaker's first aid kit. And then I got a ginger from the sister here, some tea, right, and Reiki from Queenie, and the final was the Rosetta thing you gave me made all the difference. Now, I share that because what kept coming to me, because I always say whatever happens is perfect, is it took a community to get me here to say what I thought I had to say. It took everybody's contribution, including the people who put the hot water out front, because that gave me the hot water. I bought my own lemon. If it wasn't for the hot water, I wouldn't have had the opportunity. And I say that because Spirit was like, that's what I want you to see. You live your life most times thinking it's all about you and what you do, but if you really look, we are never an island. And so my voice being temporarily disconnected gave me an opportunity to really connect with, one, is not my voice that matters, it's the voice of Spirit through me that matters. So that was the first thing I got, because I can be a bit arrogant, and when I lose my voice, I get humbled. And that, I just needed to say that. And recognizing that it took everybody's contribution to restore my voice is very, very profound. So thank you for each and every one of you. Thank you for the Reiki. Thank you for the part of the kit, because she gave me a thing to say. I don't think I said it right, but I think it helped. Thank you, Mike, for just sitting with me and saying it's going to be all right. Okay. Y'all can clap on that, but no. And I hope that illustrates what I'm about to get into, because I think as people in New Thought, we theoretically understand that we are one, but I would argue that we don't live from that perspective. I know I don't. It sounds good to say. I know it's written in Science of Mind, but what I want to invite you to do is to live from the place that there's only one begotten Son. And that was said in the church. So I'm going to share a story, and then I'm going to go into some stuff, and then I'm going to let Spirit guide where this goes. But I'm very prepared. If it goes off, it's Spirit, not me. So many of you have heard of the Bible verse, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Many of us have interpreted this, particularly in the Christian tradition, to refer to the prophetic birth of Jesus of Nazareth. However, in this talk, I invite you to take on a new interpretation of this Bible verse, particularly how this verse relates to our topic, relationships, spiritual paths to awakening, and particularly the focus for this week, it's like you're a mirror. So I'm going to start with a story. As a child, I went to this place called Fellowship Baptist Church. My mother made me go to church on Wednesday and Sunday and Sunday school, and particularly on Easter. So on Easter, Pastor Cole his name was Pastor Walter A. Cole. I'll never forget his name, because he would belt out Bible verses. And you know how you have Christians like, aha, he was one of them. Right? Aha, everything had a ha in it. So on Easter, if any of you are aware of being in particularly urban places, and on Easter, you might have a small congregation the week before, but the week after, or the week of Easter, you could never find a place. You had to put the chairs on the edge of the pew. Anybody familiar with that? Okay, so on Easter, many times this was an opportunity for Pastor Cole to encourage the packed house of churchgoers to get saved and come up to the altar and give their life to God, because he knew he had to be powerful on Easter, because he might not only have one shot. So he would stand up there and belt out. Usually he would start and say things like, don't just come on Easter. Let's be saved. And he would have these conversations, and he would actually refer to the Bible verse, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. So he was talking about Jesus. So just put it in context, this idea that you're now here, so God is coming for you. So he said, all that ever come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep do not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter, he shall be saved. Now, when Pastor Cole was having this conversation, he was talking about Jesus, like, so come up, get saved. And he said, the thief cometh not, but for to steal and kill and to destroy. I know some of y'all know what I'm talking about. This verse was popular. I come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. And then he would say there's only one begotten son. He would bring that verse in. And both of those in tandem would be like a call to action for those sitting in the pews to come and give their lives to God. So I, as a youngster, observed that, some people would come up, and I would notice that they would talk about, I'm going to give my life to God. Yet I would see how we would interact in the church with one another. Right after the altar call, there was probably some food in the basement, and people would fight for the good piece of chicken or a place in line, or there would be all of this mayhem. Right after, there would be a discussion of the sheep and the we are one. So something didn't sit right with me as a youngster, that we were saying things like, I came that you have life and have it more abundantly. Or that there was only one begotten son, which we called Jesus, and then we just accepted that Jesus, and then we still operated with each other in a particular way. And as a kid, I wasn't a new thought thinker. I didn't know the spiritual, metaphysical reason why. I didn't know any of that. I just pondered, like, what is that? And so as I grew and I started to explore other teachings, particularly metaphysics, through my studies, I've learned a new interpretation of these scriptures that I think may have been applicable for my Christian friends as they talked about one only begotten son and this idea that we can live life more abundantly. So I brought those two together and I said, okay, from a metaphysical perspective, what does that mean, really? And what does it mean in a way that's going to have us shift how we show up like that? Because if I really believe that there was one begotten son, and I really believe that God came so us to have abundant life, how do I live and interpret that day to day with my brother and sister? So here is what I came up with. Not me just by myself, but this is what came up with. The idea that God only had one begotten son is a metaphysical interpretation that means the humanity that we all exist in is that son. We are the holy Son of God. We are cells in the body of Christ. All of us, not the ones we like, not the ones that sit in the pew with us, all of us are that one begotten son. And if we believe that there was one begotten son and we are all it, then the way through to living abundantly is through honoring the begotten son. That's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to assert that every moment where you're irritated, and I'm speaking for me, I'm saying you, but I mean me. every time that we are irritated with our brother, we don't see the gift that he or she is in the moment, the opportunity to live life abundantly diminishes. Every time we become annoyed, frustrated, dismissive, passive-aggressive, all the ways that our oneness gets thwarted, in that moment, life abundantly is not available in that moment. So take the case that every time we don't necessarily see and operate from the premise that there's only one begotten Son, and whosoever believeth on him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That everlasting life is not available if we are not available for the brother and sister in front of us. Just be with that. I mean the grocery store clerk. I mean the person at work that brings you drama. I mean the relationship you chose to be in, that you choose to continuously make that person wrong about whatever. At any moment where you're not seeing that there's only one begotten Son and there's no other, life abundantly is not available in that moment. Now that puts a whole new spin on things, don't it? That takes the whole ante up. Now this doesn't mean you get to make yourself wrong for when you forget that. But just know that Walter P. Cole had it. I just think he just didn't flip it. See, those two verses he would bring together, but I don't think he let the congregants know that Jesus, the Jesus that we went to the altar to accept, was the brother and sister right beside us. So let's take that in. And I'd like you to do something for me. I learned how to do this in the advanced course with the landmark form. And I thought it was the most difficult thing I'd ever done. And I'm going to invite you to do it. I want you to look in someone's eyes right now. I know that just that part might terrify many people. But find someone's eyes to look in. And I want you to look and see that one Son, that only begotten, that is in the eyes of the brother or sister that you're looking at. I want you to just be so present that you actually are present to the one begotten Son. Take a breath. I'm going to make you be there a little bit more so you can feel a little uncomfortable, because this is where it's going to break. Just be with that brother and know, say to yourself, this is the only begotten Son of God. And whosoever believeth in you, in me, will not perish, but have everlasting life abundantly. There you go. Oh, wow. Do you see that Christ in that person? Can you feel it? And whosoever believeth in him, in that person, will not perish but have everlasting life in this moment, because we know only life exists in the moment. Thank you. Now in these walls, this was easy to do because we all are righteous and science of mind practitioners and new thought leaders. Imagine if you could be in the drama, Michael, of your people, because you shared something with me, and Spirit said, you got to share this with the group. So I'm going a little off script because God was like, that's the magic. Michael, can I share your day of silence? Okay, so as I was coming in here voiceless, I had to listen a lot because I couldn't talk. So Michael, I sat there. I love Michael. So I'm sitting there. Michael's folding the things, and he said, it's going to be all right. And he said, yeah, because yesterday I was in a day of silence, and he had some drama at work. And I'm not going to tell you about the drama over a burger or something. It was something. And Spirit told him to rise above the drama. And I think his interpretation was when the drama showed up to walk away. But Spirit told me to say this, that the way you rise above drama is not taking yourself away from the drama. The way out of the drama with anybody is to be so present to the God in them, so present to the begotten Son, that as they speak, their voice starts to change. Their conversation starts to change, because in your presence, they get reminded of who they really are. So many of us believe that to get rid of drama, it means that our physical bodies have to walk away. I would assert that it's that opportunity to be the presence of Spirit that actually transcends the drama. But that's going to require you to address your own triggers. It's going to require you to see in your place where you make other people wrong for their drama, the drama you did yesterday, they doing today, now you upset. Because it's inconvenient. It's not that it's bad drama because you did it last week. So Spirit told me to tell you, Michael, and everyone, that the way you rise above drama is not to take yourself away. Now, if it's danger, then that's a different conversation. But as science of mind practitioners who understand the power of mind, what if you could be fully present with someone in their drama and their forgetfulness at who they are, that in your presence they're reminded. And you don't have to say a word. You don't have to engage. You don't have to disengage. Because I find that many of us in science of mind, we call ourselves disengaging as a way to get, I'm going to be peaceful. Y'all dramatic people. I'm going to go over here and be spiritual while y'all deal with the petty drama of life. And I would assert that's not the way. The way is, like I said, God so loved the world that he gave us only one Son. And whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Y'all following me? See, believing in him is not the drama you see, not the discord you see, but the being that's behind it. Seeing that as who they really are will transform. Yes, I've seen it happen. Someone told me they met the Dalai Lama and they tried to bring drama, but it just couldn't land in his presence. So they just, I think it was a Yama talked about meeting the Dalai Lama and just breaking down in tears. Because she was going to give some drama, but in his presence, it wasn't no space for it. So what if we could actually know the begotten Son when they forget who they are? What if we could be the light of the world as we say Jesus was in the world, the sphere that we live in? What if we could know that for another as a lifestyle? Now that's a hard charge for y'all nice folks on a Sunday. And I didn't have none of that written. That was you, Michael. God gave that for you. So understand that relationships. And also there's another piece to this, that as you get more and more present with other people's so-called drama, you start to see yourself clearly. Because the only reason you can recognize it as drama is because you've done it. Right? It wouldn't be drama if you ain't know.
Say so.
Right? It wouldn't be drama. So relationships, as the topic is, I don't know if I'm shutting through these things. I don't know what's up there, but I'm just going with it. I got some video. I did all the prep. But Spirit is telling me this is about me giving something to you that is coming through me, not just what's on this paper. So that is what I want us all to elevate. Elevate the knowing that there's only one Son. And anytime we otherize someone for any reason, we are now diminishing life abundantly. Period. And you can have the best justification for it. Still doesn't change it. You can have a list of things as to why, no, not this one, Lord. No, you don't know my co-worker. care how much of the darkness is descending on their consciousness. Somewhere in them is the light of God, because God gave us only one son. So if you can really listen for that, listen for the commitment that they are. Listen for where you showed up like that last week and transformed it. And provide that space without saying a word, unless there is a word to say. What would that then change in your experience? Got it? Yes. How many of y'all up for that this week? Like literally, rising above does not mean taking oneself away. It means bringing oneself even further forward. That's what it means to rise above drama. So Spirit gave you the right message. I just don't want you to interpret it to mean take yourself away, because you are the Savior that they're waiting for. You are the Jesus in that kitchen that they're waiting for. In your home, you are the Jesus that they're waiting for. They need to be reminded of who they are. You taking yourself away does not serve them. Now, I'm saying that, and I'm petrified, because there are places where I've taken myself away, and justifiably so. But if I believe these scriptures that Reverend Dr. Walter P. Cole said, that I came so that you can have life and have it more abundantly, then that's my role. No matter what it shows up as, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm at a party, whether I'm here with you nice folk. It's a little easier here because we share a common philosophy at least. But out in them streets, y'all know what streets I'm talking about, becomes a little more challenging. So here's my call to action. So one, understand that there's one begotten Son. The availability of abundant life is in the moment that you can be fully present with another, reminding yourself and them in your thinking, you are God. You are the one. We are here in this exchange so that we can bring forth the knowledge of God. Yes. So whatever you're dealing with is the access to us realizing God in this moment. So let me listen. Let me be present. Because God has come. Jesus has risen. So what you got to say? Bring it on. Right? Can you get, if you had a life like that? And I tell you, when I know I've been in these spaces, it'll close out in perfect time. See, the reason why things carry on is because you ain't present. See, when people get hurt, they ain't got nothing else to say. It actually goes away quicker. If you be with people, just practice. When you be with people fully and let them say their piece, it actually goes away a lot quicker. We think it's going to drag out. The reason it's dragging out is when people get on an energetic level that they're not being heard, they continue to talk. But if you could just be with people, God is listening. Do you know who you are? I know you got the answer to this drama. I'm just sitting with you so that you can work it through. So thank you for sharing so that we can be reunited in the knowledge of God, and I can transform some stuff of my own. Because the only reason you're in front of me is because clearly I got it somewhere. Amen. That's right. So that is what I charge you good people with. I don't want you to just theoretically understand we're one. I want us to live from that perspective as a lifestyle. And you'll fall, that's fine, just get up. Oh, I did it again. And what you will notice in doing this is that we are so full of judgment, projection, blame, guilt, shame, that begotten Son can't live. So my call to action is this process I want to work you through. This is a process I learned from someone. His name is Chris, and he's a spiritual teacher. And he shared it with me and Gretchen. It was a few of my friends who were in this Raising Consciousness group. And I find it very helpful, particularly when people annoy me. Or I think they're annoying me. But I'm just annoyance waiting to happen. It ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what I really learned. So I'm just saying it like this, like people annoy me, but truth be told, I'm annoyance waiting to happen because of whatever I bring to the table. But that's a different story. So what I invite you to do, and I want you to do this in real time so you can get some practice with this process. So of course, anybody knows me, knows there's a spiritual piece, there's a lecture and a story, but there's an action item. I always say, what can people do? And this process is very helpful. So let me just walk you through the steps, and then we can end with an affirmation. So anytime you find yourself triggered by anything, and I don't mean triggered like all right, up in arms. Like I'm talking even the most annoying behavior, like when you just get annoyed. I want you to do the first thing, which is identify what exactly is annoying you. Like literally, write it down. Like when someone annoys you now, it's going to be an opportunity for something. So look for the annoyance this week. Don't run from it. Look for it. Because the first thing you're going to do, because it's going to help you expand and live that life abundantly I talked about. Because in you transforming the triggers that other people ignite in you, you will be more expansive. Yes. So this process helps. So I'll just walk you through it. So anytime you are in a situation where someone annoys you, you start to hear yourself judge their behavior, whatever it may be. It can be slight, or it can be outright up in arms. I would start with the slight stuff first, because the up in arms stuff got too much trigger. You probably will stop at number 2. But if somebody annoys you, so somebody share with me something that annoys you, so I can use this example. Anybody just, when you hear somebody do that or say that, you get a little slight, anything? Oh, y'all so enlightened, or maybe I'm asking the wrong people. Yes.
I have an annoying habit to me where even in my own mind, I'm correcting people. Like Meg Pringle kept saying Nevada, and the word is Nevada.
Okay.
Every time she said it, I'm like, it's Nevada. Who's going to tell her it's Nevada?
Okay, great. So when people say, it's a good one. So people say Nevada instead of Nevada, you get what? What's the experience? Critical?
Yeah. Like she should know better.
She should know better. So right. So when no, it's good. No, this is good. Perfect. It's slight, but notice how that little annoyance in that moment, life is not abundant. Because you trying to get which one is it right there? Because I don't want you to add on mine. But in that moment of judgment, and they say that, and in your mind, instead of being with the person or whatever's being said, you're stuck in Nevada versus Nevada. Okay? I saw your hand, Queen. Good. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Because I say Nevada. Everybody around here says Nevada, and when you go there, it's Nevada. And they know you're from out of town.
Exactly. This is a good one. Okay. These Nevadas and Nevadas. Okay. So what the annoyance is really not the Nevada. It is you should know better.
Yeah.
You should know better, particularly when you're in a position to know better. So those who are in a position to know better should know better. How many of y'all share some version of that? You're lying if you don't raise your hand. Like if people like your boss, somebody who's over you at work, and they should know what they don't know, and all of that. So it's a good one. So identify what it is, and just be with, okay, when people should know better, I get how. Okay, so that's the first thing. Just acknowledge it. Like, oh, I got annoyed. Like, I want y'all to be like, okay. So it's not the Nevada. It's when people are in a position to know better, they should know better. Okay. So now we're going to, second step is embrace the full spectrum of emotions from the lowest to the highest. So let me ask you, Dana, what's the kind of low-end version of you should know better? Like, what is it like? The mild version and the extreme version. So when somebody should know something, is it just like they're being irresponsible? Is there some judgment? Like there's some judgment you have about you should know better. What's the emotion attached to that? The low level emotion. Go right to when they're saying Nevada and Nevada. What is the emotion that comes right up?
It was annoyance.
Okay, so annoyance might be the low end. Yeah. What would be the high end? Like outright disgust? Like
yeah, pretty much.
Like disgust. So think about your emotions on a spectrum. There's a low level and a higher level, more intense. Figure out where you are on the spectrum as it relates to that annoyance. Okay? That's to just embrace where you are. This is going to be good. Wait till we get to the third step. Now, whatever you can't be with, it's in you hidden. So, there are places in your life where you should know better, and you don't, and you get irritated with yourself. So that so once you can identify what it is out there, then I want you to look within yourself and say, where should I know better? And then get annoyed. What comes up for you, Dana?
Oh, my whole financial situation.
Okay. So, that person not knowing what they should know, given their position, actually brings forth an area in you where you should know better and you're irritated with yourself.
Oh, disgusting.
You at the full spectrum. And that could actually happen too. That the mild annoyance you have with them is masking the full outright disgust that you have in that very same act, showing up differently, but nonetheless. And the cover is them. Got it? So that is always the case, but most of us don't look for that. We just deal with the annoyance, or we try to pray away our annoyance. This is deeper than that. It really is getting at what is the source out there that's really in here that I'm projecting. So after you embrace it, you can say an affirmation like, I embrace the full spectrum of this aspect of myself, and I reclaim my power now. So now you can reclaim it. You can say, yep, I know there are things I should know and I don't know, and I'm disgusted, and I can reclaim that in this moment through just listening to them. Got it? It works wonders because now there's no you and other. There's only you because there's only one of us here anyway. Remember? God only gave one begotten son because there's no other. There's just us. So when you bring it back to you, and then now in that moment there's a joining. There's no longer an othering of that person who said Nevada versus Nevada. It's now we both should know things and we don't, and we get irritated. Okay, I embrace it. Then appreciate and give thanks for that person who said Nevada versus Nevada, because now you can put on loudspeaker where you do that. Not in that way, right? Because you won't say that, Dana, I'm clear. But there are other places where you could know better and didn't, and you slip up or whatever it is. Now you can appreciate that person for showing you that, and then you can forgive. You can forgive yourself. Hey, there are things I should know that I don't in practice. And I forgive myself because all forgiveness is self-forgiveness anyway. And then you can really acknowledge and appreciate that person for showing you an aspect of yourself that you didn't see. What would it be like if you could go around these streets appreciating those who initially you projected a trigger on? Powerful. So then you want to pick a way of being, what I call a new value system. When you ascend, create a value system. So Dana, how would you like to be in the face of doing things or what you should do and you can't? Like, would you want to be disgusted, or is there another way you would like to be about it? Because you're going to know things and not do it right. You know that, right? Long as you in this body. Do you know that? You probably don't know that. You probably believe that at some point you'll know everything and do it all right and it'll be all good. Let me tell you that ain't going to happen. For the rest of y'all perfectionists and critics, it will never come a day that everything you know to do, you out in these streets doing. So, if that's true, how could you be about it? What could be your value of it? We can make it up. What is it? How could you be?
I could, that whole forgiveness thing or context of forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Compassion came to me.
Yeah.
Acceptance, appreciation.
Acceptance, appreciation.
Yeah.
So in those moments where I know better and don't do better, or I should know because of my position, like you're a financial person, you should know how to do your money, or whatever you're telling yourself. In that moment, you can bring the distinction, compassion to it. Just bring it. Not like you got to feel compassionate. I tell people, it's not about a feeling, it's about a declaration. That in those moments where I hear myself judging me about what I should know, I'm bringing compassion to it. It's a trigger for me to be compassionate as opposed to projecting. You get it? It becomes now a trigger for compassion. So when that person says Nevada versus Nevada, you can then bring them compassion because you first brought it to yourself. And then visualize what your life would be like, Dana, if you could be compassionate in the face of what people should know that they don't do right. What would your life be like? Visualize it. All those places you're thrown to be critical, yet you are compassionate, forgiving. What would your life be like? That's a real question. And I'm using her, but y'all all should be in this conversation. Because the visualizing of what your life will be like when you stop othering someone and own it and then bring a new value system to it, what came to me was peaceful, present, connected, richer. Because you won't have the space on judgment. And you don't have to fake it. You won't even have to fake it. Like, I'm going to try not to be judging. That ain't the same. It's not. So in that visualization, then you finally say, okay, this is how I'm going to show up. I'm just going to practice it. So anytime this shows up again, I have another place to go. And I can give thanks and release it, just like we do a spiritual mind treatment. Release it. You don't have to try to figure it out now. You've actually elevated your consciousness around what used to trigger you in another. That was the last one? Okay. So, here's the deal, people. The mirror is simply something that reflects you. You cannot scratch the reflection out of the mirror. You can't go fix them to scratch something out of you, no matter how justified you may be. But you can change the image in front of it, which is you. And you are the image maker. So let us create new images which will reflect new patterns. And we must be definite in our conviction and deliberate in our aim if we expect happy results. For theories are no good unless they are applied. And that's from Ernest Holmes, Living the Science of Mind. So in conclusion, I don't think I put this up here. I would like us to say this affirmation together, please. After I say it, and we can say it as, I am ready. I didn't put it up. I am ready and willing to see myself as the divine and grow through all of my relationships. I am ready and willing to see myself as the divine and go through all of my relationships. And however you see yourself is how you will see others. Because what? God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. So whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life abundantly. Ashe, thank you very much.